All right. Well, good morning, everybody. We're the team for Bohler, and I'm Dan Bundy.
I'm Ziad Shalaby.
Justin Emery.
I'm Talmadge Hansen.
And we also are going by the team name of Diamond Design. So the site that we have given to us was a 6-acre site up in Prince William County. It was zoned for general business, so it was by right use for all of the structures that we hope to put onto the site. It was located next to a couple of highway corridors, and here were some of the things that we were hoping to put on the site: a hotel, a convention center, and a bank. Whenever we were designing, we looked at 3 key perspectives that we were intending to design for. We looked as the owner, a way to make revenue, as an engineer trying to be feasible and safe for everybody. And we also looked at it objectively as if we were the end user, trying to make it pleasant for anybody who might have to look at it or drive through our site.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about a little bit of the existing conditions. To orient yourself with the site, right here you've got Old Bridge Road, Prince William Parkway, and a small connector street called Troop Street. So as you can see right now, the area started out mostly wooded, and the site property line is right here. This is pre-existing development. In terms of utilities, there's a water line running right up here and a sewer line that actually came from these developments running right here. So our initial layout options were to bring some kind of street in from here or from here and have a hotel with the bank, as we said, but the issue became that the parking was just way too much. We ended up with about 400 spots necessary, which, as you can see from a 6-acre site, 400 parking spots is going to take up the majority of this site. So to kind of mitigate that problem, what we ended up doing is structured parking. And so we're going to kind of take a look at it from this layout. It makes it a little bit easier to see. So right here we've got the hotel. It kind of connects into the structured parking with our the lobby and the pull-in area here. And then we also have the bank. Now, because we did the structured parking, this did cost quite a substantial amount more, but the fee, or the, I guess, return on that is that we ended up with a lot more space, meaning that we could put this 4,000 square foot restaurant, and that's going to allow for more revenue to offset the cost of the parking deck. And that's pretty much the main reasons that we've chosen this layout.
The site road, we decided it should run from Old Bridge to Troop Street. The reason we did that, on Old Bridge you can't cross the median, so you have a right in, right out. And that's really inconvenient for people who want to access the site. So we connected through Troop Street so people would have alternate means of access. The only problem was this, that if you see here, there's a large amount of cut that needed to be removed to make the road feasible, but some things have to be done to make things easily accessible. Also, our grading. The max grading on the site was 33%. We ran into some problems on the site. If you see the red lines here and here, those are retaining walls. At those areas, we could not meet 33%, so we had to put a retaining wall to preserve the grading. Also, we had to design for ADA accessibility. As ADA accessibility, it has to be at least 2%. Also, our site has a lot of ADA because of the substantial amount of parking it had.
Thank you. Closely tied to the grading is the stormwater management. This is our existing site, and as you can see, it has 3 watersheds. Doing our calculations for those, using the rational method, we found that the runoff flow pre-development was about 9 cubic feet per second, while the volume was about 4,500 cubic feet. So when we went to design our site, we actually decided to go with 4 areas, watersheds. The first one is the hotel and the structured parking, and the second, third, and fourth are up in the northeast area, and those include the parking lot and the restaurant and the bank. That amounted to about 3 times more flow than the pre-development and about 50% more volume. So how are we going to deal with that? Well, that's where our storm management design came in. So this first area, we had it all run off to the west here, where we used a best management practice infiltration swale, and we use that for storage capacity. 40% of the swale could hold water in it. It was 8 feet deep by 5 feet wide. And as you can see, it had much more capacity than the runoff flow, and that was because things like sediment can get in those, and then that it'll lose capacity, and so this gives us plenty of room for those sort of things that could happen. As for the rest of the site, areas 2, 3, and 4, we decided to use a stormwater management system, a pipe network, and it all flows up here. As you saw in the grading, the site all kind of flows up to this northeast corner, and we used pipes to catch that. And it ended up that we needed about 2350 cubic feet, and we met that with a square box-like detention basin, 20 by 20 by 6. And just to go over the pipe network, we had ended up having 12 inlets, mostly 15-inch reinforced concrete pipe, but a few of these feed pipes didn't require that much. They only needed 12-inch.
Right. Because our site is like a little larger than 6 acres, we needed more than silt fence to help treat those erosion and sediment control. So you can see here, here, and here, we have sediment traps. Sediment traps are good to areas up to 3 acres, and the largest area we have going to one is 2.68. We have diversion dikes that direct all the excess runoff water to our sediment traps. And also, this sediment trap is really convenient because that is where our underground storage container is going. So we already have a hole dug, so we can just plop it in and fill it over. Our phase 2 erosion sediment control goes and protects what Tom was just talked about. It protects our storm sewer. If that was left unprotected, it would get clogged up and filled and be an unnecessary expense to the owner. Also, we have sediment traps surrounding our BMP. Not sediment trap, wow. Sediment fence surrounding our BMP. This prevents it from getting excess sediment and being unusable when it's actually meant to be used.
Okay. The next thing we had to do on our site is bring in water lines. So actually there was 2 existing water lines. One of them was right up here. There was also one on Troop Street that was relatively new. So we decided to go with a loop structure. And the reason behind this is to get the adequate pressure of minimum of 20 psi, as well as the fire flow, which is actually what dictates the size of the pipe. And our fire flow was calculated to be about 2,500 gallons per minute. As you can see, we have service lines tying off the mains into each building that was sized respectively for the needs of the building. And we also have 2 hydrants on the site, one here and one here. Now the requirements only actually state that we need 1 hydrant. However, we put 2 to make it more accessible in an emergency situation.
So for our sanitary sewer, we just decided to make a complete straight cut in to try and minimize the length of the pipe. I think we ended up with about 380 in length with all these connections. They were generally a little bit deeper than any of the rest of our pipes, which is common for a sanitary sewer in order to stay within regulations underneath a water line. These are connecting into the existing sanitary sewer that ran to the east of our site, and we calculated even though there's 300 rooms in the hotel, we could still use an 8-inch pipe for the entire system.
All right, and finally, and possibly most importantly, is the cost estimate. Now, as you'll see here, the highest costs in terms of development are earthwork and paving. This is expected in most development projects, especially ours because of all the steep slopes and when we had to cut the access road. Now, we've also included on our cost estimate the structures cost, which is unusual in land development. However, we're working for the owner, and we believe that the owner needs to have a good picture of exactly what they're getting themselves into. In addition to this, we also, when we were designing our site, we left a lot of room for, I guess, value engineering. Like we said, a lot of people, we need to take 10%, 20%, whatever it is. This gives us the opportunity to take off because we have the restaurant, because we have extra amenities that the owner can get rid of if he needs to. So really, we feel that our design was well engineered. It gives back to the community, and it will bring the owner the revenue that they're looking for, and all for a price tag of just under $25 million.